And it's not just conflict. Droughts, floods, and fires can also be factors in getting food to those in need. Alice Thomas is the Climate Displacement Program Manager with Refugees International. She contends addressing world hunger means addressing the complex issue of climate change.
We're seeing definitely the effects of climate change in terms of more frequent and severe drought. We're seeing more intense rainfall. We're seeing more powerful and violent hurricanes and typhoons. And this is having the biggest impacts on people really who depend on rain-fed agriculture to survive. And unfortunately, these people also live in poor and conflict-ridden countries, or countries that are characterized by weak governance. There are multiple things we can be doing. I mean, obviously, getting strong action on climate change is absolutely imperative. And I think in the United States, the fact that so many states and local governments have recommitted to Paris is encouraging.
Let me go over some of these staggering numbers. Some 850 million people hungry, an increase of 38 million from the previous year. We're talking about 11% of the world population. These numbers are simply mind-boggling to me. Does that surprise you? In 2017, we're talking about these kinds of numbers.
Well, I mean, I think it's evidence that the complex factors that are driving this are not being sufficiently addressed. I mean, obviously with climate change, it is scary to see how quickly the evidence is mounting that this is happening very quickly. The focus and the need to put political pressure on governments right now, particularly those that are parties to the conflict, to adhere to humanitarian law and allow humanitarian aid agencies to have access to people is one of the biggest factors right now. And that's why you're seeing normal food insecurity really push people to the edge, because there is aid available to get to them, but they cannot get aid to people who need it.
And especially heartbreaking in this report is the plight of innocent children. The numbers, again, 52 million underweight. But here's a question for you, Alice. An estimated 41 million children, according to this report, are overweight. So if there is food insecurity, how do you explain the overweight angle of the story to our audience?
Well, unfortunately, we're seeing obesity rates rise even in poor countries. I mean, obviously, it's a phenomenon in wealthy countries like the United States, but where children cannot get access to healthy food. So you have the introduction of junk food in a lot of parts of the world. Middle-income countries like the Philippines, you're seeing incredibly high rates of diabetes and child obesity that are a result from the introduction of fast food. That's another problem to what sort of creates bad nutrition. So there's nutrition and then there's hunger. And really the focus for us at Refugees International is looking at the drivers of hunger in poor and conflict-ridden states, and what can we do about that fact? Because there are, these are not actually that complex. I mean, I would say that the political solutions are there. There's just not enough pressure to address them. And I'm really encouraged to see Guterres, the Secretary General, really make this a priority at the UN General Assembly in these next few weeks.
We'll see what happens. Alice Thomas, thank you so much.
You're welcome.